Hey, how you doing? So, Squid Game, right?
난 그 게임을 멈추라는 거야.
Squid Game. What an odd name.
So, for those of you who've been hiding under a rock, Squid Game is a survivor thriller television show on Netflix. The whole premise of this show is that 456 poor people, South Korean by the way, are given the opportunity to win 45.6 billion won. But in order to get that money, they have to compete in a series of games. Some childhood games like Red Light, Green Light, Tug of War, Squid Game itself, and other childhood games I never got to play as a kid.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
No,
I've come to
no,
talk with you again.
But there's a sick twist with these games. If you lose at any point, you die. So it's a show that's very reminiscent of the Hunger Games and the Saw franchise. And recently the series concluded with its third and final season. And just like HBO's The Last of Us Season 2, the reception has been incredibly divisive. Some people say that Season 3 was pretty damn good and it serves as a very satisfying end to the series, while others are saying that it was incredibly lackluster, so goddamn disappointing, and incredibly inferior to the first two seasons. Now, I will talk about my feelings on Season 3 as a whole pretty soon, but I want to talk about my experience with this series before we do that. But before we press on, big spoilers ahead, so if you haven't watched the show, go do that. Now, unlike most people who've been a fan of Squid Game since 2021, I've only recently jumped into the series this year. You see, when it came to 2021, it wasn't the best year of my life, to be incredibly honest, and there was only one show I watched on Netflix anyway, and that was Arcane. I didn't know anything about Squid Game, and I only saw a couple of YouTube reviewers talk about it, but I never jumped into it myself. So I never touched this series until the beginning of this year after I binge watched Arcane Season 2 and thinking, wow, that was a really crammed in and messy ass season. So I decided to give Squid Game a try, and I gotta say, I can see the hype. Season 1 is definitely the best as it does a good job of introducing us to the characters' struggles and why they would want to participate in the games. It makes you better sympathize and empathize with their problems, especially the main lead, Gi-hun himself. And the characters overall are really well handled. And this is a show that handles characters doing horrible shit very well. It's like you want to reprimand these characters for what they're doing, but at the same time, if you were placed in their situation, being fucking poor and in debt, you probably do the same thing. And this is a show where I don't really hate any of the players, even though they do really messed up stuff, because for the most part, I can see where each and every single one of them are coming from. Even characters that the fanbase fucking hates. I mean, Jesus Christ, people hate Shang-Woo. Also, every single actor does an amazing job, except the VIPs. Those guys suck.
What convinced you to bet so much on number 69?
Oh, it's such a beautiful number. 69.
Oh, you dirty dog.
You fuckwad. Piece of shit. Oh, it's really not your day, is it?
First 69 and now 96.
That was in the report. How did I miss that?
Yeah, I didn't catch it either.
Well, that's no fun.
Squid Game. What an odd name. He's giving up the prize money right here at the very edge of victory.
Oh, fucking way.
The games are very tense and nerve-wracking, from Red Light, Green Light to the Cookie Game, Tug of War, the Marbles Game, which is home to my favorite episode in the entire series, and the Glass Panel Game. Oh, and the Squid Game was okay, even if it leads to a climax that is beyond overdone and tropey as fuck. The production value is very top notch, from the outfits to the sets that the players have to compete in. Honestly, it's a treat to behold. And the same thing goes for the soundtrack. Man, this soundtrack really goes hard, especially the track that plays when the guards show up. Although I'm not really a theme kind of guy, like I don't really put themes as a top priority above everything else, I really do like the themes of human nature that this show tackles. It does a good job of showing us that if you push humanity to its very limits, they will do everything they need to do to survive, including lying, killing, manipulating, betraying, cheating, and doing everything they need to do as necessary to get that money. Because in their eyes, it's the only thing they have. It's the only thing that gives them hope. It gives them purpose. It gives them a chance to fight for something. And I think it's really well done. And it's pretty relatable as somebody who's been in that position before. And I also think its themes of capitalism and economic inequality are pretty well handled too. But that's a whole nother can of worms that I'm not going to talk about today.
I'm not touching that one with a 20-foot pole.
Now, is Squid Game perfect? No. There are some weaker elements of the show, and most of those are story related. I wasn't really interested in the side plots, specifically the body harvesting subplot and the detective trying to find his brother plot. And I know some pretentious dickheads will try and argue that those subplots add world building and character. That's cool. I still don't care about them. Specifically the brother's side plot. It doesn't really go anywhere other than just him infiltrating the games, trying to find his brother, discovering that his brother is running the games, he gets shot off a cliff. That's it.
That's it?
Hopefully seasons 2 and 3 will give him something to do. Like, for me personally, I think it would have been more interesting if the games were just drenched in mystery. The island, you didn't know much about it, like the front man himself. It would have been more interesting, but they had to add these plots, and sadly, it didn't really work for me. But yeah, Season 1 is pretty damn good. I liked it a lot. And just like The Last of Us Season 1, it should have ended on an ambiguous note. And guess what? I'm not the only one who thinks so. Even the creator wanted to end the story there. But because Squid Game became a massive hit for Netflix, you know what that means.
Peter, where'd you get that cow?
Oh, that's a silly question, Lois. I bought it so we can have fresh milk every day.
They got to work on a second season that didn't release until December of last year. Season 2 basically follows Stranger Things 2, as well as many other crappy sequels, and just copies everything they did last time.
We're doing a sequel. That's what we do in Hollywood.
Well, goddamn.
Taking place 2 years after the first season, Gi-hun tries everything in his power to shut down the games once and for all, by participating in them again.
What?
So yeah, it's basically the same as last time, except Gi-hun tries to warn everybody about the games and its true intentions, but two problems with that. One, they don't listen because they're blinded by greed or they think he's crazy. And two, the games are much different this time around. The only game that stays the same is Red Light, Green Light, and that was purposefully added to trick Gi-hun into believing that the games are going to be the same. And much like last season, there are tons of other side plots going on. You got this female soldier who's trying to put a stop to this whole body harvesting shit that's still in motion. You got the detective who's working with a couple of Gi-hun's friends and this captain to find the island so they can put a stop to the games. And you got the front man himself participating in the games so he can stop Gi-hun's plans.
I'm getting a sense of deja vu. Anyone else getting a sense of deja vu?
Now, I'll play nice and give some positives. Much like last season, it does a good job of introducing the characters well, especially those who will be important to the narrative. like the female guard, the recruiter, player 246, player 333, player 222, Gi-hun's loan shark's buddy, the detective, and Gi-hun himself. And even other characters who don't get proper introductions, like the mother and son, player 120, player 125, fucking Thanos.
Let's go!
My beauty flower. I'm a legend, Thanos. I like you. Of course. You're safe, okay? No problem. What's up? Nice to meet you, my brother. Welcome to the Thanos world. Hey, Mizu! Come on, my boy. Come on. Mizu, you win! Come on, my boy! You welcome back, my friends.
You need to shut the fuck up!
This fucking wingnut, 124, 95, 380, and numerous others. The production value is still pretty good, even if it's slightly weaker compared to Season 1. What I'm saying is there are things like CGI that are a little spotty in this one, but the sets are still pretty fantastic. Same thing goes for the music as well. The acting is still as strong as ever, and I really like how they took an aspect of Season 1 and better utilized it here, and that's the voting system. You see, in Season 1, they only used it once and they never utilized it again. Season 2, however, takes it to a whole nother level, where after every game they participate in, the players are given a choice to either continue the game or stop the game, and they get a little patch on their chest. The patches are X and circle, respectively. Okay, now it's time to bitch. This season just copies everything that the first season did, and honestly, it made this viewing experience a little weaker to get through. Because while watching this, I'm like, we've already been through this song and dance before. They're just gonna hammer in the same message they did with Season 1. It just gives me the impression that, yeah, Squid Game was not meant to have multiple seasons. It was meant to just have one season to tell its story, and that's it. But now, because Netflix is spawning this series until it makes more spin-offs galore, it just feels like it's going in a big circle with its message.
Good grief.
Also, it tries to bite off more than it can chew with the numerous storylines. The frontman's plot, the body harvesting plot, the female guard doing her own thing plot, the rescue mission plot. It's just all over the place. And kind of like Stranger Things 2 and 3, as well as Ice Age 5, and Kingdom Hearts, fuck it, I'll throw that in too. This season has a big issue with quantity over quality. There are so many fucking characters to keep up with, both recurring and new. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Season 1 had a big cast too, but this one just doubles it because, hey, this is Season 2, we gotta make it bigger and better. The two new games that we were introduced to were fine, although I think the Mingle game is pretty damn good, not gonna lie. Another thing I don't like about this season is how it feels really exposition heavy. Like characters just talk. Again, season 1 does that too, but this one just does it way too much.
So after a double-barreled blast of exposition to the face,
그래도 성기훈 그놈이 지발로 찾아와서 돈도 갚고 일거리까지 준 덕분에 그동안 니들 월급도 주고 사무실 유지도 한 거야.
It just feels like this season is doing way too much. And what really doesn't help is how this season felt like it was supposed to have all 13 episodes, but because Netflix is run by a bunch of greedy, money-hungry assbags, they decided to take the remaining 6 episodes from Season 2 and just drop it into Season 3, which is what we're going to talk about today. So, you guys want to know what I think of Season 3? Well, stick around and find out. Picking up after last season's cliffhanger with Gi-hun's failed rebellion plan, the guards take Gi-hun's unconscious body and put him in with the rest of the players and continue to play the games since most of the players who chose to end the games are dead. And that's basically it. We continue to play the games like normal with hide and seek, jump rope, and Sky Squid Game. Okay. Some of our favorite characters die literally in the first 3 episodes, which pissed off a lot of people on Twitter and TikTok, leaving some characters that we don't really give a shit about outside of the main character. Oh, and the CGI baby from Player 222. Yeah, she died.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
No,
I've come to talk with you again.
The side plots continue to pick up from last season, with the female guard continuing to work her ass off to get player 246 out of the game so that he can get back to his sick daughter. You got that pointless side plot of the detective still trying to find his way to the island, but then that branches off into another plot where one of the guys thinks that the captain is up to no good. He infiltrates his house, there's a CGI dog who jumps him, he's at the police station, and yeah, it's revealed he actually does work for the games. And then finally, you got the VIP dickheads from last season. Granted, they're not old white people, it's a very diverse group, but it still doesn't change the fact that these guys are the worst element of Squid Game. They always have been. Anyway, at the end of the season, the gimmick with Sky Squid Game is that since there are 8 players left, for each pillar that they're standing on, they need to sacrifice at least one person to move on to the next. Multiple people die, but when they get to the last pillar, since nobody pressed the button, player 333's death doesn't count. So Gi-hun sacrifices himself so that the baby can be the sole winner. Yes, player 222's baby, that ugly CGI baby, is the winner of Squid Game 2. When that happens, the front man self-destructs the island, the brother has one interaction with the front man, then those two get off the island, so does the female guard, everybody evacuates. Then we cut to a 6-month time skip where everybody lives happily ever after. Player 246 and his daughter have reunited. Oh, by the way, she made a full recovery. The female guard discovers her daughter is still alive, so she goes to find her. Player 67 from last season's brother and mother have finally reunited. The front man gives his brother player 222's baby along with the money she won. On top of that, he also gives Gi-hun's daughter not only his uniform, but the leftover money he won from the previous Squid Game. And then we end with Kate Blanchett, for some fucking reason, being a recruiter who's playing that paper flip game with this poor guy, basically implying that there's going to be an American Squid Game spinoff in the future, which means that the ultimate goal of Gi-hun trying to stop the games once and for all was basically pointless.
That was pointless.
And that is the 3rd and final season of Squid Game. Now let's talk about the pros, the cons, and whether or not this is the worst or best season. Some of the deaths this season were pretty effective. The big one that pissed me off was player 120. Let's sit here in silence for the fallen. The other deaths that really made me upset were player 149, 222, 125, and 7. The characters overall were handled okay. I don't really have anything bad to say about any of them. Some people have said that player 333 and 388 were destroyed, but I disagree. For 388, I pretty much knew that something was up with this guy when he was constantly bragging about being in the Marines. I kept saying in the back of my head, he's not a Marine, he's just saying that so he can be a part of the group. And this was further proven when it came to the rebellion plan, and how he shot that assault rifle, and how he ultimately decided to piss off at the last minute. So when he eventually reveals to Gi-hun, who's been giving him murderous glares throughout episodes 1 and 2, that everything he said was a lie, it didn't really upset me that much, and I don't think his character was assassinated, to me personally. Now, when it comes to 333, people online have really been ripping this guy a new one. I'm not one of those people, because the way I see it, This guy is basically like Shang Wu from season 1, somebody who acts like he cares, but in reality, he's just playing his cards right and doing what he needs to do to get further in the game. But with 333, they flip-flop with his character and his motivations to fuck with your head. The biggest reason why people hate him so much is because he threatened to drop a baby off the pillar. And yeah, that's pretty bad, but again, guys, that's the whole point of the games. To break these players down and have them do fucked up shit for the sake of entertainment. There's another character, 125, who's been getting shit on constantly because he doesn't do anything other than be a pill-addicted druggie. But I thought it was pretty satisfying to see him get 124 killed on that jump rope game. Here's the context. Also, I like Gi-hun's sacrifice, in a vacuum. I thought it was well handled, and it had me crying like a little bitch when it happened. And he did manage to stick it to the VIPs by not giving them what they wanted, killing the baby for their own sick amusement. The sets continue to look very good. The soundtrack this season was pretty goddamn solid. I mean, the music has always been good, but goddamn, this season really pops off. The actors really killed it this one. That pretty much goes without saying. I like how the female guard's side plot really kicks into high gear, as she succeeds in getting 246 off the island and killing her boss, which was awesome. And I really hope she manages to find her daughter in the end, now that it's confirmed that her child is alive. I like how some of the plot threads from seasons 1 and 2 have been resolved. The big one for me was Kang Se-byu's brother and mother reuniting, which was very satisfying to watch. Another thing I really appreciated was the frontman giving Gi-hun's daughter the money he won. That was pretty nice to see. Okay, can I believe this season now? The CGI baby looks like shit. Look, I know they couldn't use a real baby for this show, obviously, but come on, man, look at it!
I want all of you to look at it!
There's also a CGI dog in this one. Oh my god, you know what? In fact, the CGI in this season was way more spottier than it was in season 2. Okay, let's just point out the elephant in the room. These VIP motherfuckers suck complete balls. Their acting sucks, they sound like AI-generated robots, and their characters are just evil, one-dimensional assholes. Now, yes, this is a problem that has plagued Squid Game since the beginning, but at least these assholes showed up, 3 episodes of Season 1? Here in Season 3, they show up way earlier than they need to. They show up in Episode 3 of a 6-episode season. What the fuck? Okay, let's get into the actual problems. The side plot with the detective was completely pointless. I mean, I know he saves 246 from almost getting killed by the guards, but outside of that, he doesn't really do anything noteworthy. He's just an idiot who constantly believes in the ship captain, even though one of the characters rightfully says that there's something off with him. And when he finally manages to get to the island, he doesn't stop any of the games. He doesn't even have a meaningful interaction with his brother. Like, seriously, that part was so unsatisfying. In fact, there's another moment like that, when Gi-hun finally discovers that the front man was player 1 this whole time, which is something they already did in season 1, but whatever. I kind of expected a back and forth, but we don't get that either. In fact, their conversation lasted less than 8 minutes.
What is that?
It's a sad dance.
Oh, okay.
But back onto the side plot argument, you also got this guy going into the captain's house to prove he's up to no good, and I wasn't interested in that in the slightest. But I'll give this guy credit. He actually does something meaningful than the detective. As for the games, the only game I liked was hide and seek. Jump Rope and Sky Squid Game were meh. Especially the Sky Squid Game. That shit was really boring to watch, as we have to see these characters constantly bickering and voting on who they should kick off first, and then it ends with a very cliche ending, with Gi-hun hanging off the end of the pillar with player 333 grabbing onto the shirt. I mean, yeah, season 1 also had a cliche ending, but I'm willing to give that one leeway. Here, it's just nothing special. That's another problem. When it comes to the ending, like the end games, specifically Sky Squid Game, it's not really as interesting to watch because the characters we actually care about have long since been dead. And all we're left with is Gihun, that CGI baby, 333, 125, who's a fucking pill addict, 100, who I don't know why he made it to the end, and a bunch of faceless nobodies that we don't care about because they weren't developed. When it came to season 1, Gihun, Shang-woo, and Kang Se-byu were all developed throughout the entire season. Like, we got to see them, their background, what drives them. We were attached to them. So that way, when it came to the ending, we're like, okay, I hope one of these 3 wins. But here, we don't really do that. Outside of, like, again, 3 characters, the rest of them are just not interesting at all. And finally, I don't like how they're hinting that they're going to make another Squid Game, like an American Squid Game. Especially since they kind of used half of the American games. Red light, green light, tug of war, hide and seek, jump rope. What other games are left for them to utilize? And even if there are other games, I wouldn't watch the spinoff because I feel like Squid Game's concept has been stretched incredibly thin. Just like Netflix's other show that's coming to an end this year, Stranger Things. And a big problem with this season, along with season 2, is that they basically just did the same thing all over again. Every character beat, every character moment, even the ending of Gihun choosing not to kill another player, they already did that already. Which really goes to show that this series is just going in a big fat circle. There's just nothing interesting going on. They're just recycling the same elements they did before because the first Squid Game was a hit. And that's it. Nah, it's the definition of mid. Mid! It has some really great moments, some really bad moments, and some really disappointing moments. And I can understand why some people consider this season to be disappointing or how it does its characters a disservice. Although I will say that seasons 2 and 3 are the most redundant pieces of media I've ever watched. Because, I'll say it again, 2 and 3 are rehashes of season 1, trying to capture that lightning in a bottle a second time when this story was clearly meant to be only told once. That's it, one. It was not meant to be stretched out for 2 seasons or even a crappy spin-off. It was never meant to do that, but they did it anyway, and I think it really has stained the legacy of Squid Game a little bit. Not a lot. Like, I wouldn't say it's like as divisive as Arcane's second season, but it still has done some damage. And I will say this, Arcane Season 2 and Stranger Things Season 2, for all of their problems and faults, are way better seasons compared to Seasons 2 and 3 of Squid Game combined. And that's it. I'm done. Oh, and as for the ranking of the seasons, it's exactly in order. 1, 2, 3. And as for the episodes, I'll probably do that at a later date. Anyway, what do you guys think of Squid Game Season 3? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you excited for the American Squid Game? Would you participate in it? Tell me in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Maybe in another 3 weeks. Give or take.